Morning, everybody. Guess what time it is? It is time. It is that time again. It is time for Tao of the Day. If you want to join me, pick a number between 1 and 81. I encourage you to come on up and pick a number. I am here to go through your Tao of the Day. The Tao is the Tao Te Ching, written by Lao Tzu. I utilize the translation of Stephen Mitchell. I can also utilize other English translations if that's something that you're interested in. Today I'm only going to be on for maybe about a half an hour. Usually I try and allow myself to be on for an hour, but I'm going to be going to an IOP graduation in a little bit over at Above and Beyond here in Chicago, one of the best treatment centers in the country as far as I'm concerned. Love everybody there, and I will be meeting up with some folks. So would love to chat with you about the Tao. The Tao is, the Tao Te Ching translates to the canon of reason, or the way of reason. This is how you can live a reasonable life, a life that is filled with reason. How you can start doing that today is coming on and picking a number between 1 and 81, and we can give you your Tao for the day. If nobody wants to come up in the next minute or so, I will go ahead and pick a number. It's always really nice to have a new number for myself. 57 is popping out to me. I don't know if that's because I've seen the number before, but it just seems to be calling to me at this moment. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look at 57. If you want to be a good leader, you must learn to follow the Tao. What a great way to start. If you want to be a good leader, you must learn to follow the Tao. I feel like I would be a good leader. I feel like I am a good leader. And if you want to be a good leader, according to the Tao, you must follow it. Probably a little self-serving, but we'll see what else it has to say. Stop trying to control. Let go of fixed plans and concepts, and the world will govern itself. The more prohibitions you have, the less virtuous people will become. The more weapons you have, the less secure people will be. The more subsidies you have, the less self-reliant people will be. Therefore, the Master says, I let go of the law and people become honest. I let go of economics and people become prosperous. I let go of religion and people become serene. I let go of all desire for the common good, and the good becomes common as grass. I love this. Like, think about good, right? Like, oh man, this is such a beautiful verse. If anyone wants to kind of explore 57 with me, go ahead and chime in and come on. This is Tao of the Day. This is the Tao that I picked for today, 57. And we're going to start at the top. I know I kind of addressed this already, but if you want to be a great leader, you must learn how to follow the Tao. Once again, that is fairly self-serving of the Tao, but I do understand what it means because I am a fan of the Tao. If you're not, maybe you will see that as being fairly self-serving. But the Tao is not the Tao Te Ching. It is the Tao, the that which you are deep within you, beyond the manifestation of your body, beyond the manifestation of your experience. The Tao is that which is those things and which is you. Stop trying to control. You as an individual need to stop trying to control. Let go of fixed plans and concepts. That's stop trying to control. And I had a really great. It's always wonderful to be triggered. I always say that, right? Like if you get triggered, it's usually because you have this idea of what needs to be done or what someone needs to do for you or about you or around you, and those things are never the case. If you can stop trying to control, step back and just observe things, you will be able to more likely be able to lead and be able to be in a calm space when that is needed, rather than being overturned by every little emotional thing that happens in your life, because that happens every day. Every day we can be set into turmoil by some little piece of bullshit that comes our way. But if we can allow ourselves to follow the Tao, we can stop trying to control all those things. We can stop trying to control what happens in our periphery and what we're seeing, what we're experiencing, and realize that isn't controlling that, or trying to strong arm or manhandle those things around us, we'll never be at peace, right? We're always going to be at odds with things outside of ourselves, because there is separation, right? And in the world, like, people experience separation, and the more separation people experience, the more you can get yourself into a position of feeling aggrieved, right? Because they are separate from you, you are separate from them. Let go of fixed plans and concepts, and the world will govern itself. This is something that I truly believe in. I think if we can just let go of the ideas of good and bad, if we can let go of the ideas of right and wrong, like, people are going to be just fine, right? And we're going to get to that a little later when they talk about, like, laws and people being honest and prosperous and stuff. We're going to get to that later in this chapter, but just for the sake of this, like, let go of fixed plans and concepts. What are your fixed plans and concepts? To get a job, to go to school, to, and the concepts being, well, if I do these things, I will be rewarded with, financial gains and stuff, and all of the things that all of the trappings of our world, and the manifestation that it experiences, that we experience of it. So let go of fixed plans and concepts, and the world will govern itself. This is something, once again, that I believe in. And when we can realize that the world will govern itself, we can so much more easily step away from the idea that we have to do something about it. There is a verse in this particular translation of the Tao that says, "Do you think you can make the world a better place?" I think that's ridiculous, right? like it says something to that effect. It's like there is nothing to improve upon. The world that you exist in is perfect as it is. And the world will govern itself, and people will govern themselves. And I think there's a misconception. I think I picked up on that this existed when I was a kid. There's a perception that if there are no laws, people will break them. But I disagree with that wholly. I think the fact that there are laws makes it possible for people to break them. Like, without the law, like, people, I believe, will, if you give people respect enough to take care of themselves and their neighbors, then they will step up to that. The more prohibitions you have, the less virtuous people will be. I mean, we can look at prohibition here in the United States when we stopped the sale of alcohol, and we look at prohibition on marijuana. We look at the prohibition on opioids. We look at the prohibition on drugs. People become less virtuous when you make these rules and tell people they cannot do things. They become less virtuous because they do have to. They have the right to do those things, and the law should support the right to do those things. I'm a firm believer of harm reduction, and harm reduction says, hey, people are going to use heroin. When you have a prohibitive understanding of the drug culture and drugs in general, what ends up happening is you say, well, people won't do heroin because it's illegal. People won't do heroin because look at the role models they have for heroin users, right? Like people won't do these things. But the thing is that you have to start with the fact that, yes, people are absolutely going to do these things. And prohibition and telling people that they cannot, or creating institutions or creating ideas and laws that force them to not. Like, there's a prohibition right now on homelessness. There are rules and laws that, they put up the spiky furniture, and they tell you can't have tent cities, and they tell you can't have all of these things. And the thing is you're creating less virtuous people by having those laws in place. And the people that are being less virtuous aren't necessarily the people that are homeless. It's the people that are homes and continue to move people along and to try and get them to not sit or lay down. This is harmful. And that harm is just being passed on to people who are living on the street and can't get a leg up. The more weapons you have, the less secure people will be. I don't think there's any argument there. I mean, if you're a gun rights person, like, I get it. I get your desire to have the right to a gun, but we can't deny the fact that, well, if there are less of them, then nobody has them. I prefer that model, especially someone who grew up in Chicago and guns were used primarily to kill other people. Yeah, you might want to hunt, and I get that, and I think we should do more with trapping than we do with hunting, like with rifles and things like that. But to each his own. The more subsidies you have, the less self-reliant people will be. I I agree with this, but you need subsidies in our society because we do all the things that we're being told not to do, right? Like, we don't let go of fixed plans and concepts. We embrace and flourish, and we help fixed plans and concepts grow. Rather than letting go of them, we establish those as the norm. And by establishing them as the norm, the world can't govern itself. And we have to step in and make laws. And we have to make laws that keep people from doing things that we don't want them to do, so they become less virtuous. And then we have to make more money, or we have to make more weapons so that we can protect ourselves and the virtues that we have, that those who have the privilege of having virtues are able to express. And so those people who don't have enough and are going to try and live a life that is worthy of their life that they were gifted in this world, they are going to need subsidies, because you have created a world that only 12% of the population can excel in. And so here we have 88% of the population struggling. And what else are you going to do? You have to subsidize that. And you make them less self-reliant. But it's not self-reliant because you're giving the subsidies. They're less self-reliant because you're having to ask them to exist in a society that they don't fit into. And so you have to subsidize them. And they then realize that, well, they can't fit in anyway. I know I'm someone who, I accept food stamps, right? Like, I accept Medicaid. Like, all of those things are in my back pocket. Why? Because I don't fit into the world as it stands. I don't act in the way, and I don't think in the way that the world, benefits, right? I'm not one of the 12% that benefit from the world the way it is. Therefore, the master says, I let go of the law and people become honest. And I do believe this. I believe if you say, well, there's nothing you can do that's wrong, I think there will be a phase of time, there'd be a point of time where people will challenge that, will continue to challenge, like, well, there is no law, so I'm just going to do everything bad. But eventually, once that settles out of the consciousness of people, we will not need laws. We will understand that there are certain inalienable rights, and we don't have to write those down. They are inalienable, right? Like, that's the whole point. And by being able to exist in this space, we can let go of the idea that we need laws in order for people to be honest. Because trust me, most people that are out there breaking laws aren't doing it because, they're okay with the consequences. And just the consequences aren't a deterrent. I let go of economics and people become prosperous. And I believe this completely. I believe prosperity doesn't exist in a monetary way. I mean, real prosperity exists within yourself. Real prosperity exists within understanding that it's not within economics that we become prosperous. I let go of religion and people become serene. If we can let go of the idea that there is a right way to do something, we will be calm in the way things are. I mean, I believe that. And if you believe that or something else, please chime in and join me. If not, I'm going to finish up this Tao and probably call it a day, just because I'm in a bit of a hurry today. Not that I wouldn't spend time with you if you wanted to come up and chat. I let go of all desire for the common good, and the good becomes common as grass. What is good to you, and what do you fight for, and what do you want in the world? And if you let go of that, if you let go of the idea that there is one way of doing things, the common good, right? Like, you let go of that. Let go of the idea that homelessness is wrong, or let go of the idea that we can't do anything about homelessness. Or let go of the idea that, addicts are diseased. And just understand that we are here and present in the moment. And as we're here and present in the moment, we can accept the common and then be good. We don't need laws to guide us. We don't need to be told what to do. We don't need other people like making laws for us to live within. In the beginning of this, it was let go of fixed plans and concepts and fixed plans around law, economics, religion, prohibitions, weapons, subsidies. Let go of all of that, and the world will govern itself. If you are living your life and the only reason you don't kill people, the only reason you don't use drugs, the only reason you don't, like take a shit on your neighbor's lawn every morning is because of the law, well then I think your life is kind of backwards, personally. If the only reason you don't do things is because of the law, well, why does the law have so much control over you? Is it the consequences? Do you really want to shit on your neighbor's lawn? Do you really want to kill people? Or are those things that you just tell yourself and try and convince yourself that you would do? Now, if you love yourself and if you're able to let go of all those fixed plans, you'll probably find yourself in a really better spot than in a spot that just tells you, hey, if the law was different, I would do it. Those movies about like the purge and all that kind of stuff, like I don't, those only exist because we have this idea that it's that would be the case. But really, I think you're a lot more virtuous. I think you're a lot stronger. I think you're a lot more capable than anybody that would do those things, because you are. You are a master. If you want to be a great leader, you must learn how to follow the Tao. No, I'm Martin John. This has been a Recover Yourself production. Until next time, keep recovering yourself.